welcome to Retro Reviews, my channel where I review my favorite retro video games of all time as well as some modern releases I have recently finished. And welcome to Smash Saturday, where I talk about all things Smash related until we get a new Smash game, whether that be Smash 6 or Smash Ultimate Deluxe. Sorry I'm a little bit late here on this video. I got swamped this morning. I completely forgot about it at one point. Finally getting around to making it. I'm going to make this one nice and short and sweet, but I wanted to talk today about anti-meta characters in Smash Ultimate, because there are some clear meta threats in the game right now, characters that kind of rule competitive play, and so there are some characters that are being considered very anti-meta because they're not like the strongest options, but they can do things against some of the strongest picks. So some of the meta characters right now include obviously Steve, you've got Sonic, and this is a top level play, but also some at the more mid-level play, even like Steve and Rob are going to be very prevalent. Sonic maybe not as much, but we're starting to see some more of that. You're going to see a ton of Pyramithra players. You've got some more Min-Mins in Japan that are really kind of ruling the meta. So anti-meta characters are characters that kind of go against the grain. They do something completely different that these broken characters or the more really powerful characters do not do, or counter those specific characters in some way. So I wanted to talk about some of these characters and how they counteract some of the main meta going on. So I think I'll be talking about 5 here today. First one I want to talk about is my boy Luigi. Luigi is one of those anti-meta characters that is starting to rise because of his archetype specifically. In fact, a lot of people are seeing Luigi as even better than Kazuya at this point because he has better results and he has slightly better tools in a lot of ways. He's got the pivot grab, the tether grab, excuse me. So he has a lot more range. He has a ways to stay really disciplined, and his explosive power is insane. He can kill you at very early percents. If you're good enough, like Raru in Japan, you can get a kill combo off of a rising forward air at like 20%-ish, so you don't need a grab to get your combo started. So instead of killing him with a grab at 0, you can kill them at 20% with a rising fair that leads into your typical combo that kills them that you would do from your down throw combo. So Luigi has other confirms like going from Nair, falling Nair into up B, falling Nair into down B if the percentage is high enough. He's got kill confirms off of his down throw, of course, with his up B and his down B. His punish game is just really immaculate. He has lots of ways to convert into his kill power, and his kill power is insane, specifically with up B, and there's so many ways to convert into aerial up B or into grounded up B, getting kills very early on. That's what makes Luigi so powerful. In a meta where you have characters that are really good at camping or really good at taking stocks early, having explosive power is so important. So even if you're getting run over in advantage state, you get one interaction where you can get an explosive, your turn, make it really explosive, you can take stocks really fast. And that's what Luigi thrives doing. So his combo ability and his ability to finally get those kills when he finally gets a good opening is really cannot be understated. So Luigi's one of those that he just needs a couple interactions and he can kill you and take games really fast. Next character I want to talk about is Meta Knight. This is one that's seen some more play as of late because he is a fairly good counter to Rob specifically, which is a weird one. You wouldn't really necessarily think so, but because he's so small and his hitbox is smaller and he has lots of mobility and lots of jumps, he has lots of ways to get around Rob's BS. Specifically, like his rotor arms off stage, your more mobility gives you many more options, and you have better options with like ladder combos and taking him off the top or off the side. Meta Knight has a lot of these tools that really go against Rob, but also goes against characters like Min-Min. We've seen MKLeo fairly recently go against the top Min-Mins in Japan using Meta Knight and finding some good success. MKLeo just recently returned from Japan, had a really great run and ended up taking out a Japanese Min-Min player, I think top 3 in Japan that plays Min-Min. Really cool to see. This character has some random matchups where he's really, really good. Meta Knight's typically not considered to be a super strong character, but again, this is anti-meta. Does very, very well against a few really powerful characters that some other characters maybe won't do nearly as well on. So Meta Knight's going to be here as well. Another character is, I don't know if I should put this one on here or not, but I'm going to say Pit here. Pit is one of those weird ones because we don't see a lot of Pits in tournament play, but Zachary has shown that Pit is a very high level threat, dealing with a lot of hard characters, including Steve. The one time he went up against Akala, it was a very tight set, almost ended up taking the set. He barely didn't, but we can see that it does have enough tools in order to beat some of these high level threats. Zachary has also gone up against the big threats in like Hurt with his snake. He's come out on top against some really big players. playing some really hard characters. Pit is one of those characters that has one really good tool, his down B, giving you a free shield in the air, essentially. He can do a lot of things that you wouldn't think would be really strong and really great for the meta. He seems like a more honest character, as it were, but we've seen Zachary really take Pit to huge high lengths, and it shows because he's mastered his kill confirms from down throw. He knows when to be patient and get his conversions, and he knows when to press his advantage state. Pit is one of those that we've seen one person do it, but we have seen a lot of success from that character, so I wanted to talk about that here. The next one is also one that we've only seen really one person take to high heights, and that is Mars with Zero Suit Samus. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some great Zero Suit Samus players, but Mars specifically has been taking her against Steve, and really finding some major success. Beating Onan at the last major term, I believe it was at Supernova, falling to Akala, but showing his prowess in the Steve matchup. Steve is one of those characters that if he doesn't have any, if he has a losing matchup, it's maybe one or two that really he struggles with, and that's probably Sonic and Cloud, but otherwise is either even, with him probably just winning, even, but if he gets Diamond, he's just going to win anyway, or enough resources. Steve's one of those characters that can run over pretty much everybody in the cast with very few problems, to the point that Steve mains never have secondaries, except unless you're Akala at the very top level, and you might run into Spargo, you might run into Sonic, so you need a pocket Pyramithra, something like that. But specifically here, you've got Zero Suit Samus that can really do a number against Steve. From her mobility and the way that she can really thread the needle when they build 2 blocks with a gap in the middle, she can break blocks really easily. It's really cool to see Zero Suit Samus because she was a high-level threat at the beginning of the game, probably one of the best characters, if not the top 3 in the game for a while, before she was nerfed, and Mars, rising up to number 3 in the world with the character. It's cool to see him come back into competitive play more fully and taking advantage of Zero Suit Samus's tools to beat Steve specifically. And it's really fantastic to see because not many characters can really even put pressure on Steve. And the fact that Zero Suit Samus not only has the mobility to do so, but has the tools to really get in and do some damage, it's really fantastic to see. And the last character I want to talk about today is going to be Cloud. I could have done someone like Corrin. I think Diddy Kong is more mainstream now than ever, but I feel like Diddy Kong in a lot of ways is a little bit anti-meta, but I feel like he's maybe a little more meta. I think Corrin definitely could have been a good pick here, but I think overall, I think Cloud is the biggest anti-meta character right now, because again, only really have one person doing it at the top level, and that's Spargo, showing that he can take sets off of pretty much anybody with solo Cloud. Now, he does use Pyramithra a lot as well, but typically we see the Cloud come out, and even in some struggle matchups, we've seen him bring out the Cloud and come out on top. Cloud is one of the bigger anti-meta characters right now because he does so well against Steve. Like I said previously, Steve only has maybe 1 or 2 losing matchups, and that includes Cloud, because Cloud has a huge sword with a huge hitbox, great auto-cancel windows. He has a really easy time dealing with blocks, to the point now that Akala doesn't pick Steve against Spargo. That is how crazy Spargo is with the character, and how crazy the character is against Steve specifically. That he just really has the tools to abuse Steve, put a ton of pressure on him, probably puts the most pressure on Steve out of anybody in the cast. Like I said, he can break down a dirt wall with one swing of the sword. He has got a great auto cancel window, so he doesn't really have to risk anything getting in on Steve. He's got big sweeping and lingering hitboxes, so if Steve does minecart in the air, his lingering back air is just going to smoke him. Cloud is a really strong character in a lot of ways, very exploitable in a lot of ways too. In fact, I love playing Luigi against Cloud. It's hard to get in, but once you do get in and get him off stage, even a couple of times, if you know what you're doing against Cloud off stage, you're going to kill him 90% of the time, and it's really cool to see. So Cloud's a great pick in a lot of respects. He doesn't have a whole lot of really bad matchups, and if you're really proficient, like Spargo is with utilizing Limit and knowing when you need to get Limit and burn it to get back on stage, you're going to have a really hard time killing Cloud. Again, specifically Spargo's Cloud. And watching him just destroy Steve's is really cool. Watching him just really run over some of the most dominant characters in the meta is a really fantastic thing. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.